Thank you, Vincent, for coming here to my channel and showing a bit of your bank. I'm really excited because I already got the bank and I played a lot with it. It's amazing bank, so I'm really excited to see from you how you bring it into action, and we will jam a little bit today with you guys.
Awesome. Super stoked.
So yeah, just go ahead and whatever, like create maybe some lead lines, and then we could talk later about your favorite plugins and a little bit about how maybe you made a bank and where the people can get it and all that. But
all right,
let's go straight to business first, and then
let's have a look here. So, what kind of sound should we go for first?
I must say, like, I personally like the leads the most. I think the RMX was pretty dope, and the Supernaut was one of my favorites, and Maximus Blastimos. But take whatever you think is the best. I think it's most interesting if we show from each category maybe like one or two which you like the most, and then we make some sounds with that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, let's start with Supernaut. Yeah, I think this one was pretty much, there was no wavetables in this one. This one, I'm not going to lie, this one was actually started in a prototype from Alex, because he had some files that he had started in the folder from our thing, and I use that as a foundation. So actually, there's no wavetables in this. It's just a straight up saw, and really the foundation of this is just the distortion. Really, it's just a distortion saw. Not too much to it, actually. Quite simple. Yeah, I mean, all that's just like it's. I mean, it's all in the distortion cranked up. This lead is definitely the kind of lead that you'd want to do like your main hooks with, and like I don't know, I would say probably draw your own MIDI if you're into that. It's not a thing anymore. Apparently one just uses auto arps or whatever, but like maybe when I mean I would see this is more like a full-on kind of style. I kind of picked more of a I use the stems from one of my new releases here, the Technicolor Dream Goat with Act 1. I use this like yeah, I mean, this kind of lead, I mean, I would probably lean more towards doing your own MIDI. It's really not much to it other than that, really. But it's really just a nice sounding distortion lead, but that gets a bit cranky with that format on. You probably want to. It sounds pretty nice, but you definitely have to EQ that. I mean, there's only so much you could do in the box, you know. Sometimes you want to get these crazy sounds out of it, and then have EQs kind of negatively compensate for them. So when you crank up the macro, it also activates EQs. Or when you have let's say like note random on a certain parameter, but that note random is also triggering the EQ. So the higher the cutoff goes, the more the EQ like kicks in to compensate. So you're not hitting those like cranky notes with the resonance or whatever, you know. Like try to do that. love in Logic now you got these modulators. I guess you could do that in Ableton too. But basically, if I want to turn something on and off, just see if I can get them.
Yeah, there's like a LFO VST enabled, but it's not as beautiful as that one. It's more like a low-level GUI and a bit cumbersome to use, but it works well.
So yeah, now I got the sample and hold going at the mix. That's basically something I would do with that.
I think it's pretty cool. Actually, pretty simple with the infiltrator. You just had the looping on, so it's basically just beat repeating it at different chops. Or
yeah, I mean that's what I use that for more the most actually. That's my go-to preset. I mean, yeah, I mean not a preset, but I just use a beat repeat because we don't have one in Logic actually, like in Ableton. Beat repeat. Actually, my favorite in Ableton is the devices that are made by Jump Street. He's got his glitch, that glitch one that he made. Oh, it's super nice. So yeah, okay, let's check out some more of these patches. Let's see. Let's try another lead. One of my favorites is this Reeses Pieces.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is more of like a you say like a kind of classic style lead that I was kind of going for, like almost like the old 3D Vision kind of vacuum cleaner sound, you want to call it. He's like hyper saw kind of power lead. I don't know what they were using to make that, but I find it was pretty difficult to get that sound out of Serum on its own, but I made these wavetables. They're basically like a hyper saw in mono, because I guess the hyper saw is kind of a stereo thing. I don't know. I guess the whole detuned sound, but I mean it's just a white wavetable, so it's mono. So basically, I stacked two stereo. Actually, when I first made this patch, the first thing that came to mind was this old GMS remix of the Star Wars. I don't know if you remember that. What's it called again?
No, actually, I'm a big GMS fan, but
from the GMS System Busters album. It's like year 2000 or something. Remind me of that. Okay, anyways. I would definitely say this is again another more like full-on-y kind of. I don't know if that particular pattern will go nicely over this. sounds very Goa here. So once again, definitely needs a little bit of. Yes. Yeah, that's another cool lead. I really like the sound of that one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It has that vibe, as you said in the beginning, like that spaced vibe. And one question, because it sounds very, very stereo. So how much actually do you care about correlation in leads? So like, do you care or don't you care at all?
Well, I usually just go with my ears. But I mean, I guess it's always good to have a bit in the center too, eh? I mean, I don't know. I tried with one in the center, one, but this one I split them. But maybe.
It was actually no critique. It was just wondering because it sounds so bright. If you do then like later in the mix, do you adjust it or not? Or if you just say maybe it's cool even like to have it that crazy wide, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Depends. Look for some Mortal Kombat vibes. Mortal Kombat! This sounds pretty nice in the low octave too. Let's get this cheap. I believe I had this patch also named as, at one point I had it called, yeah, I had this patch at one point called Dominion because it reminded me of this old track, UX. I don't know if you remember that. It's Goa track, UX Dominion. But anyways, that's that lead in a nutshell. Another one of those things, like, you know, definitely a kind of mainliner in your track. You probably want to do by MIDI, your hook. I guess we can try one more lead. I liked the Crunch for Lunch. Yeah, this one's a bit of a mix between an arpeggio and a lead. However, because you got this little knob here.
So you can turn the sequence like alpha 1 or something on with that or off?
Yeah, exactly. You could basically just turn the arp. Move this sequence over here. Yeah, it doesn't really work unless you have it synced to the DAW. I would personally separate. Man, I'm just making this shit up quick, so I'll go.
So you have both time the same patch, but you have a different macro setting, or what did you do there?
Oh, just so I can play with them indifferently, have one build up in one way and the other. I mean, I'm just making this up right now. So let's see here. Oh yeah, I have these alternate. Kind of get it kind of sounds like it's getting broken up. So definitely gonna take some little bit of time to come. Anyways, it takes some actual time to make any serious arrangement or, to really get things to sound good because, I'm not here to make a track. I'm just kind of demonstrating the patches. But I mean, yeah, I've always been a fan of that kind of Logic Bomby vibe. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's a cool kind of. There's a bunch of wavetables there. I think they're all included in the batch here.
Yeah, that was like extra folder as far as I remember.
Yeah, I think they're in the filtered group. Yeah, the crunchy. It's basically a lead in itself. You don't really need much. I think the acid attack as well, an infected lead. I mean, they're kind of interchangeable. They're pretty much interchangeable here. Yeah, originally it was 140 wavetables. I was I had to cut it down basically.
Why not? Not the good ones, or I mean,
no, it's pretty good, but there are a lot of kind of copies of the same, just variations. So we just thought it'd be better to slice it down to like just the best stuff. But yeah, like.
I think that one made it good. The one of the last shots had something nice in it.
Yeah, no, but it's obvious like it's the automation here. I don't know what's going on. Oh, macro 4. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean it has a different range. Like this one gets a lot, almost to 0 at the top. There's basically like the.
Yeah, but it has like a nice range in between somewhere. It doesn't sound as squeaky as the other one, but it has still that acid touch in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could just dial it up higher, but you have to control that obviously. But yeah, there's that wavetable there, and then there's the crunchy was the first one we did. The infected. That's pretty juicy. There's that. It's fun. Um,
Actually, I think it sounded pretty good in the end. You know, like then when a long shot got this automation in, and that's some really nice thing in it.
yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's. I mean, I really tried to round out the different styles. You know, like there's definitely some stuff for nighttime over here, and definitely a lot of stuff for full on and morning, and I basically got a whole mixed bag.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the other two were probably a little bit more nighttime, but also I think I think in general I'm kind of getting a little bit bored of like all the FM sounds. So I'm just like, you know, try to give a little something little different for people to play around with. I mean,
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want, you can also go a little bit into effects. Maybe also some cool sample and hold or something like that.
well, actually, I would say my favorite here is probably, I'm not gonna lie, but it's probably one of the more kind of obscure ones that people probably won't use in their music because it's kind of specific. It's got a thing to it. Like this guy here. I mean, it's basically just the sampler and the sample, but I've been really, I mean, I'm inspired a lot by THX 1138. I don't know if you've ever heard of this movie.
No, it's a cool movie. And I write
Yeah,
it
it's
down
super
because
cool.
I love
Yeah,
cool movies. THX
super cool.
one.
THX 1138. Yeah, it's before they made Star Wars.
Okay.
George Lucas. I mean, don't quote me on exactly the whole storyline, but I mean, it's definitely uh, some crazy sound design to say the least. I think a lot of it set the stage for the sound design they used in Star Wars, like all the droids and like. I mean, there's a lot of this kind of like radio chatter because basically it's like takes place in like an underground kind of 1984ish kind of dystopian authoritarian kind of city, and it's like underground after some apocalypse or something. Everyone lives underground, and there's all these like radio chatter. And apparently, what they did to record all that is they actually like got out the SSB radios, like the short band radios, and they rented it out at the university, local university, and basically they got a room full of people to record some script stuff, like basically like voice actors, whatever. They had like a whole bunch of them talking, and they got all this recording, and then they took the recording and then broadcast it on the shortwave radio, and then received it on the other side, and basically fiddled around with the receiver knobs to like, you know, kind of artistically destroy the signal and to fiddle around with the frequency, and you get all these like really cool robotic effects. Very similar to what you would get out of like a ring modulator.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so basically I went on a little mission, and I found an online shortwave radio and got all these like really cool recordings, and it's super fun. Yeah, and I mean I got more to them than just this one, but we only included the one. But I got a little library that I can like interchange, and it makes like between this and then we add the ring modulator on it, just like doubles up the roboticness of it. So, I really enjoy that. That's one of my favorites.
If I would have used, if I would have that pack like a few months earlier, I would have used that sound for sure. I made like a track about Mars Attacks, the movie. It's not
I love that movie, actually.
Yeah, you love it. I think it's it's so cheesy somehow. I mean, it's so cheesy that you can love it again because of all that like little Martians and stuff. But it would be have fit it perfectly in that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I mean, it's really just a sampler. Yeah, I mean, creative use of sampling is always my fun.
Yeah.
When I start a track, I'm like usually like, okay, like let's start with a fun folder of fun stuff we can play with before we even get around to like slapping a track together. You know, try to come up with some samples, some fun recording, whatever I'm doing at the time. You know, whatever's on my mind. Chuck that together. So yeah, I mean, besides that, I really like also the Malfunctioning R2 Unit. This thing's out of control.
So back to Star Wars territory.
Yeah.
There was like a documentation from the guy who made the music for Doom. I think you would have enjoyed that one. I will send you later. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool how they made some sounds. So
yeah, I find that really interesting. Like I mean, if there's anything to compare, like, I mean, if you had anything to be like, hey, what's like who makes the craziest sounds of all sounds? You know, it'd probably be the guys doing these big Hollywood movies. Like, well, not necessarily Hollywood movies, but like sci-fi movies, anything like super futuristic. Like, really trying to push the boundaries of weird sounds. I think it's just the patch. I think that's an old version from my scrapbook. That's pretty cool. Okay, whatever. That's nasty. That basically summarizes the FM sounds there.
Yeah,
Of
actually,
course, there's a whole. I mean, basically, like there's a whole bunch of FM wavetables too, so you could kind of just interchange them by chucking whatever wavetable you want in.
yeah, actually, like the first FM, really, it was really good. The high one, which was a little bit more centered, I think, it was
Yeah,
really.
I'll admit that one I punked off of the old Aja presets for. I mean, it's just like a classic FM that's been used so many times,
Mm.
and I mean, it basically was for albino, and I actually what got me making a lot of these patches, like really getting into making my patches for Serum, was I just got freaking sick of using the virus because it just kept on crashing, and also albino. I'm gonna try to get the sound out of those synths into Serum. That wavetable is definitely like basically taken from like the classic Aja sound. So
Mhm.
it sounds good. I
Yeah,
mean,
does. I really like actually, when you're jamming here, I think this sounds, what you just jammed, it sounds already better than some of the tracks I hear out there. So you should have recorded the whole session and then arranged it later to one track. I think it's really good parts. There were some really nice things, especially now when you did this. I think that R2 and the FMs was, I think.
yeah, but that's still there. Ah, yeah, okay. Hey, just so everyone know, I'm using this in one of my tracks. Punks. I saved this secret setting for myself. I'm actually using this in a track with Inside Mine. But yeah, this is one of my favorites too. I thought I'd try to see what it sounds like with both of them.
Yeah, but actually, before when you played the play button, I like this vocal touch which comes from the downsampler there. It's really nice. I think I love that too. This downsampling thing. I think it has that alien vocal touch.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing, do you know that, I'm sure you know, but that Confessions of a Super Module, there's one track with Aja and Super Module. Somehow it always popped to my mind when you were playing this. Somehow it
Mm,
had a bit of touch, I think. Maybe I'm mistaking it, but I think it had a bit of that vibe.
oh, probably. That's Lucas's project, huh?
Yes, yeah.
I was at his studio not long ago in
Yeah, I think
UK.
you posted some crazy synth pictures, so you had probably some fun there.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, he's got the same one I got here. The the R2 units.
Mhm.
Yeah, 2600 by Behringer. Really fun synth, by the way. Let's check out a pad or two. Oh, which is my favorite? Yeah, it's not like them all. But I don't know if they'd really fit with this style of track. It's more atmospheric. They'd probably have more fun with the atmospheres of this track. But let's just see. I mean, honestly, in most cases, I would be deconstructing these. Like I wouldn't, unless it's for an intro, but to actually get a pad like this to sit over a mix, probably not that easy. Probably, I mean, like Sidetrack's just so busy and compact that getting a complex sound like that with a lot of layers probably doesn't really cut through. Yeah, I mean, and I would basically be deconstructing the. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in most practical senses, I would be bouncing these in layers. Like I wouldn't really be using it all at the same time, just so you have control over the individual parts.
I think we had that talk in Boom Festival, in the food area about where you also explained the same thing, that if you would use the patches, that you would divide them to have more control.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mean, I do it like this just because like it sounds cool when you push a button. You're like, wow, like all the sound coming at you at once, and it's really interesting. But I mean, I find it. I mean, like I said, if it's in the intro where you got like no kick and bass, you can more or less be like, okay, that's cool. It's got all these different layers. But then you chuck a kick and bass on, and you're like, what's going on? I don't know why, but it's just like I find like more simple, like one shot sounds tend to fit better,
Mhm.
or like one layer, or if you have them coming in different ways. Yeah, another thing too is like mostly actually don't use the delays and reverbs on Serum. I usually bypass that and chuck my own sends on. So then when I'm bouncing, anything I bounce, it doesn't have effects on it unless I want it to specifically. But mostly, I do it all through sends, so I have control after. So it's not like fused with the sound when you bounce it. It's kind of annoying when you make a bounce like, oh damn, I had too much reverb on it. How do I go back? Oh, can't go back. This is
You do it also with the delays? Because I'm interested because I put like my reverbs also on the sends, but the delays I mostly have in the chain. But as you have shown, I never put them in the, or not never, but like most of the times I deactivate them in the send patch as well.
yeah. Well, I mean, these days I'm using Replica. I find it sounds really nice. I learned that from Chelly. I was mostly using H delay before, but then I heard Replica and just like, well, I mean, obviously you have when you put it on a send, you turn the mix all 100% up, and then so the mix on the delay is 100%, and then yeah, you just put it on your send. I just find you have better control, and also you have all your different delays, your go-to delays or your go-to reverbs, whatever, all just there. I mean, I saved the channel strips or whatever. That's on the master channel strip. But, got all your favorite settings right there, and you pull it up and easy.
Cool. Yeah, should we go a little bit more like to round it up that you tell a bit about about how you made the pack, like how long did it take you, maybe where you got your inspiration from, also where people find it, I mean most people probably know Featurephonic, but maybe you can show quickly the website on your screen or something for the guys who don't know about it.
So yeah, here's the Futurephonic website. You can get it all here. And yeah, just go to the sound banks and source code 3. Here you go. Woo. So product/source code, source-code -3.0.
Yeah, we'll also put like a link in the description and into the YouTube video itself so that people can find it. So you can either click up there or you can look down in the description and find it.
Perfect. Also, I do have my own, what do you call it? I got my own link for like all my content, all in one link. It's not officially on the website. Like it's only a link that I have that I post if you want to get all virtual light stuff.
Mhm.
I'll send you that as well.
Yeah, cool. I put that also in the description box below.
So yeah, about the pack itself. Well, it's taken me quite a long time, to be honest. A little bit longer than the first two. Primarily because, well, let's just say after releasing the first one or the second one, I really wanted to just push the boundary of it, to be honest. I wanted to make sure that the third and what I would say to be definitely the final episode of the trilogy. No idea. So it's definitely end of the road on that. But yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I really wanted to do a better job than the first two. And then, of course, many of you guys heard, but I was, yeah, I'd say at least 85% done the whole thing, minus like the last touch-ups, and then my hard drive died, and I lost quite a good chunk of it. Well, I mean, I'm lucky that just about 3 weeks before I went to my friend's house and I went with my laptop, and basically while I was chilling at his place, I worked on the patches on my laptop, and I had made a copy for myself to have the latest version on the cloud about 3 weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about the point where I was getting serious about like finalizing it and getting through the rest, because I basically spent about 2 years in kind of prototype phase where I was working on my tracks and making patches as I go along, and then saving all my content, kind of like a scrapbook style. Just be like, okay, this can go on, this can go on, this can go on. Like, okay, now I'll do a batch of wavetables. Okay, this all go, without worrying too much about like cleaning it up and like perfecting it. It's just like my own personal stash and my own, scrapbook basically. So I spent 2 years doing that, until I accumulated definitely to the point where it's like almost more than enough stuff, to work with. I basically had like, triple the amount of wavetables that I would need. And, probably like 150 patches that I would, kind of systematically boil down to the best stuff. And then once I got down to that, then I'd work on those even more, and then probably cut out a few at that point and make a couple more just to fill in different things. You know what I mean? So yeah, I went through about 2 years of that process. But then, it was a good thing that I went to my friend's house to work, and I made a bunch of patches on his couch, which I also luckily saved onto the cloud as I transferred it back to my studio computer. So I didn't lose that. And then that was the last working version of the whole thing that I had before my computer died. So really, I lost about 3 weeks of work, but it was 3 weeks of like really solid, like, okay, now it's time for me to finish this. So I was putting like, 12 to 16 hours a day for three weeks to a month or something. And basically came like inches within a couple strokes of being done, and then lost it. So then I'm like, okay, so I got nothing. I'm going to start over from where I left off. And I spent the last 3 months hammering that out, or 2 months, or however long. I don't know. I lost track of time. And here we are.
You get better than before, And actually,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
think
about
so.
it was before, but it's fucking lit,
Definitely. Not complaining. But it was definitely like a bumpy road, let's just say.
Yeah, but like if you come to an end, it's always good.
Yeah. No. It's one of those things where like kind of just deal with it and move forward. Try not to cry over spilt milk, and just keep on stay focused and blast ahead.
Yeah, I guess the whole music business is quite a bumpy road.
And it definitely has its moments for sure.
Yeah, so we've seen like the plugins. We've heard a bit about how all the problems like getting it out, and where actually did you find your inspiration from? So you said you made it like along the way. So did you use it like in your tracks also, or is
Oh,
it like,
definitely.
from your tracks?
Yeah, of course. That's basically. Basically, it's what I do. I just make my tracks and I shape the sounds to that. And then,
So it's like a chicken egg thing. Do you start with like zero, just like pressing your keyboard and doing the sound design, or do you come with whatever something you already got from another part, like the MIDI, and then you do the sound design and replace it later or something?
well, I think the MIDI is always interchangeable, right? If you're making a patch for something that's going to be used for other people's music along with your own, or whatever, you want to make sure it works across any,
Oh.
like not just one specific MIDI pattern, because that's not going to be very useful for other people if it only works with a specific MIDI pattern, or a specific very, very dialed in like automation or something like that. You want to, so basically try to make it so that when you flip through all those macros, it works almost everywhere. And that's part of the challenge, really, because you want to make there's one thing making a patch for a very specific use,
Mhm.
which in your music be like, okay, don't touch it. It's you got the perfect setting. You're like, okay, it's good. But then making a patch where you can be like, fucking go crazy on those macros, and it basically sounds good no matter what. It's kind of That's the difference between a patch for your own music and one that you sell, basically, for the public.
Yeah, the thing you also mentioned with like having these different layers or like reverbs and delays in the patch, all those things which you probably wouldn't do if you just do it for your own music.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I mean, like, but I mean, I think it also gives a lot more value for people too, because you can deconstruct them and really essentially get 4 patches out of each patch, or those layered patches, and then you can just like take take them for a ride, or you can replace all the wavetables. You got a whole like selection of wavetables. You can just like swap them out and make your own patches out of it.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you can even do that with the effects. I mean, you can load it in Serum Effects or something, and you have some new effects layers. I mean, it doesn't work so well. You need to adjust it a lot, but it's even like another component you could deconstruct from it. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I definitely encourage like twiddling around with it to fit your music. I mean, there's no such thing as an actual like perfect patch that's just like generically good across all things. Depending on how you draw your MIDI, your note lengths, the sound you want in your track, it's going to change. So you're probably, no matter what, going to have to twiddle around with a few of the settings to get it to fit specifically exactly to what you want to do. I mean, you try our best to make it generically good across everything, but at the end, you're going to have to probably do something. Unfortunately, well,
like a lot of the envelopes or the filters and stuff while you were doing it, or you, as you said, you changed the whole wavetable and thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. So you have any other tips like how people can use the pack, or what will help them in using it? Just random thing. Maybe you have some idea.
Well, I think at the end, it's all about having fun. Like, I mean, I hope it's a fun pack to play around with. And that's really the important thing. If you're having fun with sound, if you're not having fun, you're probably not gonna last too long.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, people don't know, but before we started talking, we had some technical issues, and I had fun with your pack. I was playing, and you catched me on Zoom out of the dark while I was hanging on the computer and playing with it. So definitely, I think that's the most fun. I remember like Alex from Futurephonic, he had this masterclass on sound design, and I think he was also talking a lot about this topic that he gets like inspired like a child when he's doing sound design. So he really gets himself into that fun mood, and yeah, it's I think it's true for everything in music production.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Also, when you start a track, it's like finding things that you can dip into that are like a fun folder of like things you've sampled, or things that you've always like enjoyed in your childhood or something. Like something that's like fun. I don't know. You're just like pushing a button and on a preset and go, oh, no, it's music. I don't know. It's kind of, you got to add your story to it. Add your flavor. That's kind of my theory, anyways. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess my theory is that I mean, yeah, if you're gonna make music, it's like there's like a little part of the world that's missing that you have to fill. It's like your story that makes you you, and yeah.
Yeah, I also really think if you have fun making music, it really transmits in the music. So I catch myself like a lot of time when I make music, like really like dancing to it while jamming. So I mean, I've seen you before as well, like doing this, like the stage move. And I think like this little things, yeah, exactly that one. I think that little things kind of like get you really into that vibe at the moment. So.
You gotta pump up the party, get the party pumped.
Cool. It was really interesting to see you how you jammed, and I think it sounded very very well. As I said already, there could be a track made out of that material. I mean, maybe stuff needs to be added and mixed and whatever. But I really felt a cool vibe today in those mixes. So thank you very much for like taking the time and being my guest here on my channel.
Killer, man. Awesome.
Cool. See you. Bye.
Cheers, man.